Hello friends, once again welcome back to Java Chapter. Uh, Today I'm going to talk about the hash table. As I started talking about the collection framework, so as part of the collection video series, today I will be discussing about the hash table. So first of all, whatever the things we are going to talk today is I will talk about what is the map and what is the hash table and how the hash table performs how the things internally, whatever the convenience methods available in the hash table and how to use that all methods. We are going to discuss with all things here. So let's just start with that. So first of all, I'm going to talk about some important point about the hash table. So what is the hash table and how it? So first thing is that it store the data in the form of the key and value pair. Unlike the collection framework and unlike the collection series, if you see the hierarchy of the collection series, that the hash table is different from the collection. It's coming into the map series. So it's none of the related with the collection hierarchy. As in a collection hierarchy, the set is there, a list is there, queue is there. So that's all the one single value things. In the collection hierarchy we can store only the single element at once, but that map hierarchy is a little different. In the map hierarchy we can store the value in the key value pair. So that is the hash table. It not having any relation with the collection hierarchy. It's having the separate hierarchy of the table. On that the hash table is coming. So it stores the data in the form of the key and value pair. And the next thing that it's an actually if we talk about the array list, it's an array of the list. It will create one array, and each element of the array will having a list of data. So and that list is known as the bucket. It will internally form one. I will talk about the internals in sometime later. So how internally it will work. As of now, just understand like it's store the data in the form of array of list. So one array will be having the and each index of the array will having one another list. So that is all it's happening. And for position of the bucket, it will identify the from which index which list we have to store. It means the we are talking about the list. It means the bucket. So that will be it will be identifying by calling the hash code method on the key. So that's why it's the name hash is attached into the name of the class, like its name is the hash table, because it's all the operation performing based on the hash code only. That's why the name is the hash table. Then the other thing is it cannot have the null as a key or value. Not a key and we have value. We cannot store. It means anywhere we cannot store the null in the hash table. The thing it's totally synchronized. It is totally thread safe because all the method whatever they have given into this is the thread synchronized. That's why it's a thread safe. And on the same type, it contains only unique value as a key. The key cannot be the duplicate. The value can be a duplicate, but key cannot be a duplicate. So one key we cannot store twice in the hash table because it's all about the internal. So when I will talk about the internal, I will be explaining that all. And also it's a legacy class. It means it's coming from the Java 1.0. So when the Java first public release happened, from that time only it's coming. With along with the vector, you people also know that in the collection series, collection hierarchy, the vector is the class that is coming from the Java 1.0. That is also a legacy, and the hash table, this is also a legacy class. So this is all about the hash table. Now next, let's talk about some method. What are the important methods of the hash table? So let's just start with how to add the data in the hash table, how to retrieve data, how to remove, and all the how to perform all the code operation in the hash table. So for that, first before that, I would like to talk about the constructors of the hash table. So first, because for the, doing any operation, first we need to create the object. For the creating object, we need a constructor. First of all, we must have a knowledge about the constructor, whatever the constructor available in the hash table and how to use that. What is the meaning of all constructors? So if you will see, there is actually four constructors in the hash table from up to. per version. But initially three constructor is given. That's why I'm counting at three only. I'm totally talking about the legacy things. It means whatever they given in the Java 1.0. So first constructor is the empty constructor. It means zero add constructor. So it will be creating one object of the hash table with the two thing. In the hash table internally have the two thing. One is the load initial size and other is the field ratio or load factor. Some used to call load factor or field ratio, whatever you can call. So by default we will call the zero param zero R constructor. So it will create one hash table with initial size as 11 and the load factor at 0.75. It means whenever the hash table will filled till the 25%, then it will grow the size. You all know that it's internally growable only because I already told it. Internal data structure is storing in the form of the array of the list. So it will be growing the size. So when it will grow, when it will field to the whatever the load factor or field ratio we are providing, when it will reach to that, then it will grow the size. So that is the thing. So we are calling the empty constructor zero param constructor. So it will be initial size it will consider as 11 by default, and the load factor or field ratio it will consider at 0.75. It means 75%. Another is the second constructor is with the int param. So how it is like, it will be whatever we will pass the initial size, that will be considered as the initial size. So based on that it will create, and the load factor will still remains the 0.75, it is 75%. In the third case we are explicitly providing both the initial size and the load factor, both we are providing. Suppose load factor we provided 0.2. So whenever the 20% the hash table will get filled, the data will be filled with the 20%, it will grow the size of the hash table. So this is how the constructors are available in the hash table. Now let's start with the methods. So first thing is to add the data in hash table, whatever the method available for the adding the data into the hash table. So the methods is the put. So there is only one method, one way we can add the data into the hash table, that is the put method. It will contain two. It's having the two argument methods. So one is the key and one other is the value. So first argument is the key and the other argument is the value. So we have to pass the data based on the key and value basis. So based on that, it will be storing the data into the map. So it will call the hash code on the key method, and based on that it will identify on which bucket it has to store the data, and based on that it will on that index it will store that. All these the internal things why we will be talking in the return. And the return type is the object. If the mean is that if the already data is available, same method is used for the replacing the value also. So I will talk in the update one. So suppose we are going to add the record. So by default no record is available into the hash table. For that key no record is available. So on that case what it will do, it will create one it will be calling the method, and if the key is not available already in the hash table, what it will do, it will add the value entry and it will return the null. It means no value is already existed. If the already key is existed, so on that way case what it will do, it will call the, it will add the value whatever the data is there, and it will be returning the whatever the existing value is there, that it will be returning from the put method. That is the how put method is working. So if the already key data is available, it will replace the existing value and return the old value. If data is not available, simply it will restore the value and it will return the null. So this is how the add method is working. The next thing is the retrieve. So how to retrieve the data from the hash table. So when we are talking about the retrieving the data from the hash table, so for the retrieving also there is three method. If you first one is, if you want to retrieve the single object, so on that case what you have to do, in that case it will be taking the single value, and whatever the key we will be providing, based on that key it will search data. If the data is available, it will return that value. If the data is not available for that key, it will returning a null. And that is how the get method is working. So simple, the get method is we have to pass the key. If the value is available, it will be returning value, else it will be null. two other method is there for the bulk retrieve operation. One is the element, one is the key. So how the elements will be working, like elements will return all the value of the enumeration. It will internally create a enumeration of object, and with keeping all the value data, not the key, only the value will be coming into the elements. Whenever we call the elements method, it will consider only the values and it will return the enumeration. And otherwise the key, so each method will return only the key. So each two method is there if you want to retrieve all the record from the hash table. So if you want to get the only keys, all the keys, so we have to call the key method, it will return the enumeration object of the key. If you want a value, all the value, so we have to call the elements method, it will return all the value from the hash table. Next one is how to delete the data from the hash table. So for the deleting, there is only one method called remove. You have to pass the key into the remove method. If the data is existing with that key, then it will remove that data, that entry from the hash table, and it will return the simply null. Sorry, it will return the value whatever the value get removed. If the none of the record is matching with that key, mapped with that key, none of the value is mapped with that key, then it will be returning a null. That is the remove method. And we talk about the update. Just now I told about the put method. So put is the can be used in two ways. One for the adding the data, one for the updating. How when updating? If the already the data is available, and when we call the put method, it will found that if already the key is existed in the hash table, so simply it will go and replace the value with the given value, and it will return the old value. So key whatever we are passing here, if the key with the same key data is available in the hash table, but in old value it will replace with this value, and old value will be returned by this method. So this put is the dual used method. So it can be used as updating the value also, and for the adding the value also. Apart from that, there is some method for the searching the data. If you want to search the data from the hash table, so for that there is some method like contains key and contains value. So contains and contains value both are the same method. Both will be used for the value. So if you want to know that whether some value is existed in the hash table or not, so on that case we have to either call the contains or contains value. So it will simply go and search all the value, and if any of the value will be matching with that given value, then it will be returning true, else it will be returning no. Same like the contains key there, contains key will search for the key, and if any of the key is matching with that given key, it will be returning true, else it will be returning false. Apart from that, there is some other convenience methods like size, clear, age empty. So size will be simply returning the size. So how many entries available in the hash table. So that will be returning by the size. Clear will what it will do. It will clear all the data from the hash table, and it will be the hash table will become the empty one. And third one is the is empty. If the hash table is the empty, it means none of the record is available into the hash table. Then it will be returning true, and else it will be returning the false. So these are the method available in the hash table. Now I would like to give you the overview by the coding perspective also. So let's go with the coding kind of thing. So for the coding here, what I'm going to do, I created one class called student, because if you people see the tutorials or example anywhere, so all the people are started showing the example with the primitive type or Java provided type. So on that case, what you are happening, some key requirement is there for the using the data and the as a key for the key only. Value you can add anyone, no problem for the value, but the key whatever that we are going to add, for that there are some requirement, there's some thing we have to follow, then only it will work properly, else it will not work properly. So that's why I'm using here the custom thing. So I created one class called student. It's having the two field, id and name. So I provided all the setter getter methods and the toString method. These two methods is required if you are going to work with any custom class. So by actually what happened is, by default all the Java data type like integer, wrapper, all the things string is over here overriding these two methods. That's why with that it's working fine. But if you will go to work with the custom class object, because real time we mainly have to work with the custom classes only. So on that case people used to face the problem. So what we have to do, we these two method is required for the working with the hash table. So if we are not overriding these two equal in hash code method, then it is not going to work properly. It is not going to behave like how it has to behave. So for that, for equal hash code method is like I already told, is store the data in the form of array of the list, and that is called bucket. Each list is called bucket, and the where that list has to place it is identified by using calling the hash code on the key method. So suppose we are going to use the student as a key, so it will call the hash code method. If hash code method is not overridden here, it will be calling from the superclass. Superclass it means object class. Object class is simply some address, memory address it will be generating on the runtime. So for the same class object, every time it will be providing different hash code. So on that case, it's going to now give some wrong output, or it is going to behave like something wrong. So in that case, the hash code is required, and if the hash code is matching on that case, the case it's going to look for the equals method. So that all thing I will talk on the internal thing. Just as of now, just understand like these two equals and hash code method is required. For the hash code, I wrote the simple method. What I am returning from here is like ID, and plus I'm on the name I'm calling the hash code method because it's a string. So I'm getting the hash code of the name, and I'm adding the ID, and then I'm returning. So now let's start with adding some data. So I will be starting with the put method. So suppose here I'm going to add three. I'm adding the three record into the table. Call one is the as a key. I'm passing the student here. I created with the object by using the generics called. I'm saying like a key will be the student and a value will be the integer. So same like here I pass like put. I call the put method call a student of 1, 2, 3, and three object I'm adding. Now I have to see the whether the object is get added now. So for the any collection one two string method is already overwritten. So if you will just on the system.out.println, if you will pass the collection object, it will be printing the all the value whatever they have given. So if you will see here how it will be printing key equal to value, because in the student class I overridden a two string method in this form, so it will be, that's why it's printing the student details in this form equal to value. So whatever the key is there on the equal to value basis, in that pair it will print the all the data. So this is the how the put method is working. Now if you have to get the single object, so on that I already told we have to use the put method, get method. So on that case table dot we have to call the get method. So get method, and suppose we want to get the suppose this object, so we want the data equivalent to this object. So what just I'm saying that whatever the data available for the, I'm passing here the key and I'm asking the value, so value will be the triple two. So see, if we will run this, we will be getting the triple two. So this is how the get method is working. Now I want to replace the data. So suppose I'm saying like go to this record, and instead of triple two put the value triple four. So for the convenience, what I'm going to print, I'm going to print it twice. So you can see like before replacing the value and after replacing the value, whatever the data is there. Oh, sorry. I can go with this. So if you will see like see before it at first object 33, 11, and 22 is there, but on the last what is happening is like the 33, 11, and 44. So don't think about the insertion order. The hash table never will store the data on the based on the insertion order. It doesn't follow the any insertion order. It will internally constructing the data value, all the things based on the hash code. That's why it's anytime it will come into the any form. So don't bother about the, don't think about the much about the insertion order and how the ordering is happening. So this is how it got replaced with the photo. Now if you have to remove the data, like this is the update data. Now I'm going to talk about I'm going to remove the data table dot remove, and on the remove, suppose this time I'm going to remove this object. So still I'm keeping that one record is before deleting the data one. after deleting the data. So if you will see, like see Pujara, Kohli, and Dhoni is there, but on the second one, Kohli and Dhoni is one there, Pujara is not. So this is how the remove method is there. Same like all the other method, we can go with that keys and all the innovation, all the method whatever is there, like remove item, put it for the replacing item, to create keys and value also we can use. And the contents I can show you, like if we will go let's comment this whole method. If we will go with the table dot contents, here it will pass the Pujara, because already Pujara object is there available, so it will be so, oh sorry, contents will be working for the value, so that's why we should use like triple two. I'm asking for the triple two value, so it will return in the true. Same like table dot contents, if we were talking about the key, this time we are passing the key, so it is coming true. And same like table dot contains value, like triple one, it's also coming like true. So this is how all the methods we can use of the hash table, and we can go and work with the hash table. So hope so this helps you on to